Imagine a woman who is married to a man who's part of organized crime, a mobster. She loves the expensive jewelry, the fancy dresses, the big mansion that she lives in, but she lives in complete denial of all of the crimes that her husband commits, all the money he steals, all the people he's violent towards. Or worse still, she knows about it, but she criticizes him and acts as though she's all morally superior while still enjoying all of the benefits of his criminality. This is what we call a mob wife, a woman who is pretending like she's ethically above her husband while still reaping all of the rewards of his criminal activities. But this principle of hypocrisy doesn't just apply to the mafia. I know of a true story, a couple, where the woman wanted an upgrade in lifestyle. She wanted a bigger house, she wanted to go to fancy dinners, she wanted to go on expensive holidays. And so she put pressure on her husband, and he really stepped up. He got a promotion at work, he started taking on more responsibilities, and he managed to upgrade their lifestyle in a significant way. But guess what? All of those extra responsibilities required an extra time commitment. He was working overtime, he was taking on additional projects, and suddenly she started to complain that her needs were being neglected and that he was never at home. In her mind, he was now the bad guy because he wasn't spending any time with her, and she went and had affairs with other men. This is a true story, and she felt completely justified in doing so because she felt like her needs were being neglected. She was morally condemning him for working too hard while enjoying all of the financial benefits of that work. She was a mob wife. This is what I want to talk about today, and it doesn't have to be that extreme, like a woman having affairs. I want to draw your attention, though, to this principle of hypocrisy, where women are enjoying the benefits of masculinity while at the same time criticizing it. So what does it mean in normal circumstances if your girlfriend is being a mob wife? Well, let me illustrate this with some common examples that some of you might be able to relate to. Let's say you have a girlfriend who likes that you take on the leadership role in the relationship. She likes that she doesn't have to plan anything. She just gets taken on adventures. It's her preference for her to stay in the feminine and for you to be the masculine one, you to make the decisions. So you make those choices. What the two of you will do on Saturday, what dinner you'll eat, what movie you'll watch, where you go on holiday, etc., etc. You do all of that. You take on the responsibility. You do the research, the planning, all of the logistical stuff so that she can just lay back and enjoy herself. 99% of the time, she loves it, but there will be occasions where you misjudge it and you plan an activity that she doesn't enjoy. On those occasions, if your girlfriend is a mob wife, you will suddenly be accused of being controlling, of never letting her make any decisions, of being selfish, of never consulting with her. She loved it when it was going well for her. She was even encouraging you, but now it suddenly doesn't suit her, and so you're being criticized. That's a mob wife. Let's try another example, a bit more subtle, a bit more psychological. Let's say that she relies upon your masculinity because you stand up for her. You make her feel safe and protected. You have a personality for speaking the truth, telling it how it is, confronting reality directly. She knows that no one is going to be able to take advantage of her because you'll be able to see their manipulations and you'll call them on it. You'll keep her safe from those kind of people. Now, she loves that part of your personality when it's protecting her from other people. But let's say she starts to manipulate you. She starts trying to take advantage of you. Well, because of your personality, you call her out on it. You have zero tolerance for these kinds of games. But if she suddenly has a problem with that and she starts to criticize you, she's being hypocritical. She's being a mob wife. She was happy to enjoy the benefits of your blunt personality when it was serving her interests and protecting her. But now, because she can't take advantage of you, she suddenly has a problem with that. She complains that you won't make an exception for her. But what she doesn't realize is that your personality is an all-inclusive package, and she can't just turn it off and on at her own discretion. One more example. I think a lot of men are going to relate to this one. In the bedroom, she absolutely loves your masculine sex drive because you find her so desirable. You can't keep your hands off her. You're trying to be with her and have sex with her all the time, and it makes her feel as though she's this beautiful, highly desirable goddess woman, and that you just lose control around her. She loves that. It's a big ego boost. So when it's building up her self-esteem, she likes that aspect of your sex drive. She encourages it. But what comes along with this masculine sex drive is a desire for frequent lovemaking. You want to do it with her every single day. But if she doesn't have the energy for that, well then suddenly now it's a problem. And she starts to shame you for your sexuality. She calls you an animal. She calls you a pervert, as though there's something wrong with you wanting to be intimate with her. She's being a mob wife because she was happy to enjoy the feelings of desirability that your strong male sex drive gave her, but she doesn't realize that your sexuality runs independently of her will and she can't just switch it on and off at her own pleasure. All of these examples have a common theme in that a woman is happy to enjoy the benefits of your masculinity, but she wants to be able to pick and choose which parts she likes, and she reserves the right to shame any aspects that she doesn't approve of. But masculinity does not work like that. You can't just segment these things. If she's the one who's encouraging him to take responsibility, to take on that leadership role and to make those decisions, well, the natural byproduct of that is that occasionally there will be decisions that are made that she doesn't approve of. If she enjoys the protection of being with a man who always does what's right and stands up for the truth, she has to realize that he maintains that personality characteristic by being consistent, by always standing up for what's right. And so if she's trying some kind of shady behavior, then don't be surprised if he calls you on it. If a woman wants to be with a man who's highly passionate and has this strong male sex drive that always makes her feel desirable, she has to realize that with that sex drive comes a desire that's going to frequently pop up in their relationship, and he's going to have impulses that don't necessarily fit into her time frame, and it's not appropriate to shame him for that. The whole underlying problem of this whole mob wife phenomenon, all this hypocrisy, is that the women don't actually understand what it is that creates the benefits that they enjoy. To examine this hypocrisy, let's reverse the genders, because you see, it's the same as if a man was really enjoying the fact that his wife was kind and compassionate, but it would be hypocritical if he got insanely jealous anytime that she showed kindness or compassion to someone else. That's part of her personality. Or if a husband enjoyed the fact that his wife took care of the children, cleaned the house, cooked the food, but then also had the audacity to complain that she doesn't financially contribute to the household as much as he does. If you are encouraging her femininity because you like the benefits, then you can't be surprised if she acts feminine. So for a mob wife who is encouraging a man in his masculinity, she can't then turn around and criticize that masculinity without being a massive hypocrite. And please don't misunderstand me as though I'm saying that there is no valid criticism possible. Just like femininity, masculinity can become toxic. And if a man is being cruel or abusive, he can't then turn around and say, oh, well, this is just an extension of my masculinity, as though that's some kind of valid excuse. That's completely ridiculous. So obviously there's some nuance to this, but I'm trying to encourage women to be aware of the fact that the masculinity that they encourage isn't something that they can just turn off and on at their own pleasure. That's not something they're in control of. If you are actively encouraging the masculinity in your partner because you like the benefits that he brings you, then you can't be too surprised when there is a spillover effect that occasionally you don't like. That just comes with the territory. Masculine men are strong and muscly, and that's good for you because it makes you feel safe and protected. But then don't be surprised if that means that he has to spend time at the gym instead of with you. Masculine men can fix things around the house because they're logical and they're problem solvers, and you like that because it means that you can rely on him. But then don't be surprised if when you come to him with emotional problems, if he's not logical and solution-oriented in his response. Masculine men are purpose-driven and often very financially successful, which is great for you because it means that he's able to afford a luxurious lifestyle. But if you're encouraging him in his ambition because you enjoy those benefits, then don't be surprised if he spends more time at work. The basic lesson here is just don't be a hypocrite. Don't be one of those women who enjoys all of the benefits of masculinity, but then has the nerve to criticize the toxic patriarchy. It's a beast of your own creation, and it's not appropriate to criticize it now just because it isn't serving your narrow, selfish interests. What makes a man happiest? One long-term relationship or having lots and lots of different partners? How do you handle it if your partner has had a lot more sexual experience than you have? What is my opinion on male masturbation? All of these videos, plus a huge amount more, are available exclusively on my Patreon page, including my latest video, How much of a disadvantage is it being short, and what can you do about it? In this video, I explain the number one step that you have to take in order to clean up your mindset. I talk about the best way to confront your insecurities about being a short man. And lastly, I explain the necessary steps that you need to take in order to compensate for your lack of height. If you're worried that being too short is limiting your options on the dating market, then I highly recommend this video. For every video that I post here on YouTube, I post an additional bonus video on my Patreon page. That means that at the moment, you're only seeing half of the total content that I create. If you'd like access to the other half, then please just go and sign up at my Patreon page. It's just $5 a month. You get instant access to a whole bunch of exclusive content, and it's a wonderful way to support the channel. I would love to see you over there.